Hello, this is Jill from Paper Daisy Crafting. Thank you for joining me again today. And today we're going to have a go at making this lovely little card. I made this for the Pootler's blog hop a couple of days ago, and several people have asked me if I'd just do a video to show you how I made it. So your wish is my command, and here I am showing you how to make it on a video. It uses this lovely set here. I actually got this as Prize Patrol, so I got it for free at our On Stage event in April. And actually I don't think it's a set I would have bought, but actually I'm really enjoying it, especially as I'm really getting into colouring. Since we've had the blends, I'm really getting into colouring with all kinds of medium, not just the blends. And these are lovely images to colour, and got some lovely sentiments in it as well. You're the kind of friend I'd share my branch with. Still suspiciously young looking, I see. Little birdie told me it was your birthday. Obviously it wasn't an early bird, so you could put one of those on the front and one of those inside the card. And just a thank you and a happy birthday, and just a little token of my appreciation. And some lovely images, the birds, a toucan and a cockatoo, a parrot, some budgies, and also useful other images, the branch and some leaves and flowers and balloon, party hat. Really useful set. I'm really enjoying using it. I've made lots of samples with these that I'll show you in coming days. So let's get started. How did I make my card? So first of all, we're going to do all the stamping. I'm going to put my card to one side, and I'm going to take a circle that I've cut from our stitched framelit. So I don't do any die cutting on camera, so you'll know if you watch my videos, but I'll use this die from the stitched framelit. It's the second to biggest stitched framelit, and all we're going to do is ink using a Memento ink, because if we're colouring we don't want it to bleed, so the Memento ink is fine for that. And I'm going to ink up the toucan stamp that I've already got mounted on a C block here. Just make sure it's well covered with ink, and see if we can position this in the right place on the circle. So it's a bit tricky doing this on camera because I can't get over top of the stamp. I'm going to try. It doesn't really matter where he goes as long as he's in the circle. There we go. Oh, there we go, that's fine. And then I just need the branch for him to sit on. So I don't need to ink up the whole branch because it's going to go off the end, so I can just ink the first bit without doing the rest, and then I just need to line that up as well so that he's sitting nicely on the branch, so like so. There we go, there's my toucan. That's that stamping done. I'm going to put that to one side, and then I'm going to put, I need the black again because I'm just going to stamp the greeting, which is just a little token of my appreciation. So I'm just going to do it on this piece of lemon lime twist. I'm doing a different colour scheme this time on this card. I don't think that's quite inked, it's better. And just put that there, and I'll cut that down in a minute. There we go, just a little token of my appreciation. So that's all the stamping with the Memento ink. But now what I need to do is stamp the background. I'll show you on my original card, which has fallen on the floor. You can see I self-stamped this panel here with the little flower and the little leaf from the set. And so what I'm going to do it on yellow this time. So I'm going to use Daffodil Delight ink. Oh, excuse me. And Daffodil Delight card. And I'm just going to randomly stamp flowers. I don't know whether you can see that coming out on the camera. Can you see those? They're very, very faint, but it does just give a bit of a background pattern to this card, so it's not absolutely plain. If you didn't want to do that, I suppose you could use an embossing folder. You could emboss this panel, or you could use a darker ink if you don't like this very, very subtle look. I quite like this subtle look. I like the same colour on the self-coloured ink on cardstock, so I don't mind, but up to you really. And then in between those, so I've done the flowers fairly well spaced apart, because in between I'm going to go in with the leaves, and I'm just going to turn them round, and it's just a very random pattern, doesn't really matter where they go. Like that, and it's very quick to do. You can actually make your own DSP like this using some of these little stamps, and you can make it in whatever colours you like, so it's quite a useful little tip. There we go. I think that's enough stamping on there. So that's all the stamping done. But what I actually need to do before I put the stamp pads away, I need to do the colouring of my toucan. As you can see, I've used lots of lovely bright colours on my toucan. So I'm going to, so let's open the green and the yellow to start with. And I did this, I didn't use our Stampin' blends, I used a blender pen. Don't know if you know about our blender pens. They come in a pack of, 2 or 3, certainly more than one. And they're dual tipped. And what you can do is just use the ink from the stamp pads with them to do beautiful colouring. And they do blend, I know they're called blender pens, they do blend really well. And you can, I'm going to just use the other end of this one. The colour will stay on, and then you can just tap it and the colour will disappear from it. It's like magic actually. So I'm just going to rub the end of the blender pen in some of the daffodil yellow. So I've picked up some colour on the tip there. I'm going to colour the end of his wing, and hopefully, as this is Memento ink, it shouldn't bleed. There we go. You can see what lovely bright colours you get. And I'm going to colour his eye. I'm going to try and do this quite quickly, but you can take more time. And just a little bit of his beak. There we go. And then I'm just going to dab that yellow on a tissue, and you'll see the colour will disappear and go back to just a white tip, so I can then pick up the green. It's very clever how you can do that. And then there's just a little bit of green in here, in this bit of his beak. I did look at a picture of a real toucan online, so I could see the sorts of colours that were in their beaks. And then it's just a little bit of green on these leaves. This is lemon lime twist I'm using here, like that. While I'm doing this, I'm going to move on to using orange, the pumpkin pie. Oh, I've got the wrong orange here, sorry. I need pumpkin pie, not peekaboo peach. Picked up the wrong one. There we go. While I'm just colouring this, I might just take the time to remind you that at the moment we've got a celebration going on, which means that if you order anything from the annual catalogue or the new spring summer catalogue, you can get a free item from the celebration catalogue, and I'll be coming and showing you some of the things that are available very soon. You can see on my blog and on my YouTube channel I'll be using some of the free celebration items, and there are some lovely things this year. Other years I've not been really enamoured with a lot of it, and there's only been 1 or 2 things. This year most of it I love, and I'm trying to find an excuse to order things so that I can get the free sets. There we go. And the Melon Mambo, you can see that I've already done this because the ink is already on the lids of the stamp pads. There we go. So put my Melon Mambo in. Can you see how wonderfully this colours? And then to do the black at the end here, I just need to do a little bit of blue. Get rid of that there. A little bit of blue on the end of his beak. Just going to get the colour out here. You can see it's still bleeding colour at the minute, but if I just let it keep going, the pink will disappear. It might stain it slightly because the pink is a very dominant colour, and it does stain. If you get it on your hand it takes ages, but there we go. That's enough. And then a little bit of blue. And actually, just because I've got blue in here, I'm going to give him a blue eye this time, and it will match my card as well. There we go. And then, so I just need to put all these inks away, otherwise I will end up putting things in them. And then I'm just going to use the black marker pen to colour in the rest of the toucan, the black part of the toucan. And then all the inking and stamping is done, and it's just going to be assembling our card. Then, there, put those all away. So, just need our black marker pen. It's got a fine tip and a brush tip, so I can do the most of this part with the brush, and then I'll just go around the edges with the fine tip so that I don't go over the edges. So just colour in that carefully. I am getting much better at colouring in inside the lines, I have to say. So yeah, Celebration is a really good time if you were thinking of ordering anything. £45 and you get a free item. If you spend £90, there are actually this year they're doing level 2 and level 1 items. So level £45 gets you a level 1 item. If you spend £90, you can choose a level 2 item or 2 level 1 items. There we go, we're all coloured in, so now it's just a case of assembling. So first of all, I need a scallop circle. This is cut from the Layering Circles framelets, and it's the third from the biggest, so the third, not the biggest, not the next one down. And we just need a little bit of Tombow glue on there. I'm just using Tombow for the whole of my card here, and put that on there, line that up nicely, so there's just a very vague circle round there. And then you can see the border that I've used here. Now you can probably see really clearly that that border is from this punch. You probably can't see as clearly that this border is from that punch as well. So I've already cut one of the borders I need. I'm just going to cut another one, show you how I do it. Now the punches are designed to be used like this and to do it from above, and you can line the pattern up on the border there, but actually I find it easier to do it upside down. So what I tend to do is I tend to do that, and I can get some pressure. Sometimes it's quite stiff to punch these through, and then you put it back in, and can you see I'm just lining that up with where the punch end, I'm lining it up with the end of the punch there so that it will be in the right place. So just line that up, grab it, punch. I think I need to do it 4 times on here to get my punch gel. That's stuck in there now. Let's get that out. Got a bit of card stuck in there so I can't see what I'm doing. There we go. There we go. Next one. And one more to get that line. So you can see I'm just lining that up and punch. I do love this decorative ribbon punch. I do like a good border punch, and this one is one of the nicest ones they've come up with, I think, in recent years. Get rid of all these bits, some of the bits from the punch. That is one of the things about punches, you do end up with lots of bits. There you go. Right, so I am using a different coloured card blank. I'm using Tempting Turquoise. The measurements are 21 centimetres by 15 centimetres, scored at 10.5 centimetres, or 8 1/4 inches by 5 3/4 inches, scored at 7 1/8. So that's my card blank. Now I need to take my yellow panel that I stamped my flowers on, and one of the strips of punch is going to go, and this is how you get that tiny scallop border. Can you see it's just the edge of the scallop punch? Can you see that there? So I'm just going to put a tiny thin row, as thin as I can get, of Tombow along there, and line up my punch so that just that little scallop border shows, like so. Can you see? There we go. You see that there? Okay, and the other one, it's going to be a bit more showing of this one. It's going to have a bit more of the pattern peeking through. So if I put that down there, it's probably easier to line it up like this. There we go. So I didn't have any of the holes show. There's some holes in it. I didn't have any of the holes showing. You can see it overlaps a bit, but that doesn't matter. I'm going to cut those off later. Okay, so that's my panel, which now just needs mounting on my card. Like so. Again, it overhangs a bit, but if you've ever watched any of my videos, you know I tend to do that. I tend to do things oversized and then trim them off afterwards so that I get a nice neat edge. I can't bear things that don't line up absolutely precisely. So there we go. So I'm going to put my panel on there like so, and then I just need to bring my trimmer in to trim down my banner for the greeting. So here's my trimmer, and I'm going to go in and just trim a little bit off the top there because I don't want it quite that wide, and then I'm going to come down here and trim it there as well. There we go. And then I'm just going to use my snips to roughly cut the banner tails in it. There are tools that you could use, but actually I just do it by eye, so like so. And that is then going to glue underneath my toucan there. So just a little tiny bit of glue, and going to go there, and then all I need to do is put glue on the back of all of that, and mount it on my card. So I hope you've all been enjoying the new spring summer catalogue. There's some lovely things in there. I've just had a new order today, so I've got some other new things to play with when I get a moment. There we go. So I'm just going to trim off those extra bits that I left hanging over, so I can just use the edge of the card to guide my scissors and trim that off so that I get it absolutely flush against the edge. And again on this side. There we go. There we are. And the only other thing I did was added, bring out my tweezers, a couple of the Tutti Frutti sequined self-adhesive sequins. So what colours am I going to do? I'm going to do orange because we've got a bit of orange in it. So I'm going to do a couple of, oh, that's come off the background. Let's get one where the sticky is still on it. There we go. One there. Might use another one of these. One up there. And I might use a green one, as we've used a little bit of green, so that will tie in with that. So a little green one there. And one more down there. What colour should we do? Yeah, I might do a berry burst one, which is kind of melon manbo in it, kind of. So I'll do it, where should I do it? There. There we go. There's my card. So we've got two colour schemes there. Which one is your favourite?